One of you once again the Christian Apologetics Networks in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Today's topic we'll be looking at the Quran and science. That is, we want to look at how the Quran justifies science, or should I say how the Quran justifies discoveries of science. So this is one thing before we go into this, I want us to first understand that every discovery made by scientists, it was not as if it was scientists that created those discoveries. Rather, it was God that created them. But at a particular point in time, those discoveries or those things might be hidden from man. But as time goes on and as technology improves and increases, do you understand? Then we begin to see man discovering those things. So once those things have been discovered, does not mean that it is man that created those discoveries. Rather, it was man that discovered it where it was being kept, where God kept it, or where God kept them. Are you with me? So the discovery of science, each time science discovers something that has been kept there by God, which means it was God that created it, then those discoveries made by science should not contradict what God has spoken or has said in his book. Every Muslim believes that the Quran is the word of Allah, and Muslims often claims that there are a lot of scientific proofs in the Quran. That is, some things that science are discovering now, they are things that the Quran had already spoken of. It's already written in the Quran prior before science discovered them. Why we are not saying that there are not some aspect of the Quran, that some words or some things in the Quran that science later undiscovered. You understand? But what we are saying is that when Muslims are looking at this holistically, they often tend to focus on where the science discovered, I mean, the scientific areas of the Quran that complements and confirms the scientist's discovery. Why they look away from those scientific why they look away from those scientific proofs that contradict what the scientist's discovery was. Number one that we'll be looking at is the place where the sun sets and where the sun rises. That is, we'll be looking at, okay, according to science says that the sun sets in the west and the sun rises in the east. But what does the Quran have to say as concerning this? Now let's look at in Surah 18, Ayah 86. If you read for me, Surah 86, Ayah 86. Now, he said, until when he reached the setting of the sun, he found it setting. Look, when you see this bracket there, it is not in the original Arabic translation of the Quran. Please, you can go, this is the Arabic words. You can go and copy this, paste it on your Google Translator, or there's some website that, like sunan.com, that when you click on this on each of these Arabic words, it's going to translate it to English for you. So you can get that also. You understand that this, as if it is not there in the original Arabic text. The translators are the one that put it there. Why are they putting it there? It's because they knew that this particular verse of the scriptures of the Quran contradicts the discovery of the science of when the sun rises and sets. That is the reason that's why they put as if, because when they put as if, It's like they're saying that it's not that the sun set there. It's as if Drukanai saw that this he saw it as if the sun set there. So they can twist it, but it is not in the original Arabic text. Please. It said until when he reached the setting of the sun, he found it setting in a spring. In short, it did not even put in the original Arabic translation. He said when it gets to a place, look at this. Pick, Victor cells till when he reached the certain place. This is the original Arabic text. The certain place. It was the certain place of the sun. He found it setting in a muddy spring and found a people thereabouts. We said, oh, Dulkanai, either punish or show them kindness. Now, what did the Quran say? He said, till when he reached this, the what? The setting place of the sun. Where did the sun set? He found it setting in where? In a muddy spring. So according to the Quran, the sun sets in a muddy spring. But according to scientists, the sun sets in the west. Now, where did the sun rise? According to the Quran, where did the sun rise? Let's look at um, ayah 90, verse 90 of this verse. We are going to see where the sun rises. We are going to see where the sun rises. Now, let's read. Now, he said, until he reached, until he came to the, until when he came, this is Drukanai too, when he came to the rising of the sun, he found it where? Rising on a people from whom we had not made against it any shield. That is, it rises from a people where we, Allah has not made any shield. So when you so this clearly contradicts the Quran. I mean the 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 scientist discovery, because scientist does not say that the the sun sets in the in in a in a muddy spring and rises in a place of among the people. Now another thing we want to look at for is the origination of sperm. Where does sperm originate from? When we look at Ayah 86, Surah Ayah 86, then we will see where the sperm originates from according to the Almighty Quran. Verse 6 and 7. Now let's now he said, look, said he was created of a gushing fluid. Now, where is the gushing fluid from? Of a gushing fluid. Let's look at verse 7. Of a gushing fluid, yes. emitting from between the loins and the ribs, emerging from between the backbone and the ribs, proceeding from between the backbone and the ribs. Is this actually scientifically true or medically true that the sperm of a man is is between the backbone and the ribs? Actually not. So all these are clear scientific errors from the Quran. Now another one we want to look at is the source and the purity of milk. The source of milk from the cattle. Now let's look at Surah 16, Surah 16, Ayah 66. Surah 16, Ayah 66. So we will see where the milk comes from. Okay? It says, surely there is a lesson for you in the cattle. We provide you to drink out of that which is in their bellies, between the feces and the blood, pure milk, which is palatable, which is a palatable drink for those who take it. And indeed, for you in grazing livestock is a lesson. We give you drink from what is in their bellies. Now, according to them, the milk of the cattle is within the bellies of the cattle. Now, where is between, this is the exact location, between the excretion I cannot just stop laughing. And the blood, pure milk. Look, actually, I think Mohammed, what Mohammed did was that because he saw that the huda of the cattle is very close to the bum bum, I mean to the anus of the cattle. So he felt that the cattle, that is, he felt that okay, that where the milk is being produced from is very close. That is between the the blood. I mean, it's between the excretion parts of the cattle and the blood. And then you begin to wonder, can this be God at all? This is clearly contradicting science. Let us look at the last one, the shape of the head. What is the shape of the head according to the Quran? The shape of the head. Surah 88. Surah 88. Ayah 20. The shape of the head. So what is the shape of the head? The scientist says that the head is spherical, but the Almighty Allah and his prophets that and the angel Gabriel that wrote the Quran said the head is flat. Now look at it. And the head, how it was spread out, and at the head, how it is spread out, and at the head, how it is spread out. That is when something is spread out, that means it is spread out like a mat. That means it's showing that the head is flat. All these are contradicting science discoveries. And then somebody will sit down somewhere and is going to tell me to believe that this book was actually written by God himself. I'll say no. Because a book that cannot, you see, the question is that how, this is it. It's like you being a teacher, okay? You're a teacher or an invigilator supervisor or whatever you are. Then you set an exam for your students. And then among all the students, there was one of the students that passed excellently, outstanding, A plus. And you're like, You were like, how can this student pass this course so excellently well? He said, okay, no problem. So you then call the students, then set the same question that you set in the examination for them generally. Then you give him that same question that he should now re-answer the same question in your presence. And then you sat somewhere and then you're looking at him. And then after the student finished, he submitted, and then you went ahead and marked. And after marking, you begin to say that this student actually performed woefully. F9. And then it now begins to contradict the results you have from the first examination that he did. Is he had A1 plus in the first exam, that is for general exam. Then you give him a personal exam, which was the same question from general exam. Then he had F9. How can you complement the two? How can you juxtapose the two? The same thing too for God. It is God that discovered, that put all these discoveries that the scientists are discovering there. Do you understand? So if God should tell you that, look, I created man, that the sperm is being produced from their backbone. When medical science starts to discover that, okay, that where does sperm originate from, where does sperm secrete from, medical science should be able to get the fact that sperm is originating from the backbone. This is what the Quran tells us, that sperm originates from the backbone. But yet, when we begin to look at it, medical science says it is not so. Sperm does not originate from backbone. The Quran told us that the earth is flat. That's what the Quran told us, and we believe that this is God speaking here. And then scientists then began, and then they discovered and said, look, we've discovered that the earth is not flat, the earth is spherical. Then you begin to wonder that what is happening here? That how can this be God? Will God not understand, or will God not know what he creates again? And how can God tells you that the milk of a cattle is being produced between the excretion and the blood? Does that even make any sense to you at all as an human being? It shows that this book was not inspired by God at all. It was inspired by man. While we look at the scientific confirmation from the Quran, let us also look at the scientific errors in the Quran. Now we look at the book holistically, and we can now conclude that, can God contradict himself, or can God prove not to know again? So all these are pointing out to the fact that this book called the Quran cannot be from God. We'll continue with in the next video. We'll be looking at more of the Quran. I'll be digging out some things about the Quran just to prove that this book is not from God. If this book can have scientific error, if this book could have contradictions, are you with me? So you cannot accept, if this book can have historical errors. I showed you in the last video 3 historical errors. How can you claim that this book can be from God? It cannot be from God. So that is it, guys. And if you've watched this video, please, if you're a Muslim, I'm going to advise you, make your own diligent study on this subject and hold on to the truth. Don't go by what your sheikhs, your imams. I even clearly showed you that how even the translators of the Quran to English version, how they are twisting the words over there. That's what they do. That's how they, because they know that if you cannot read the Arabic, if they should give you the exact interpretation of it in English, you know that they'll get exposed. So do your diligent research and you get to know the truth. And for you that this truth has come to you, I would say, why not leave Islam? Come to Jesus. He is the lover of your soul. If you have any questions as concerning Christian theology, or any questions that you feel in religion that's bothering you, feel free to reach out to me. Drop in the comment section, and I'll be willing to answer you. As I come away next time, I put you in the grace of God, and in the God of grace, in the grace of the Lord Jesus Christ, and the love of the Father, and the fellowship of the Holy Spirit be with you. To meet again next time. Bye-bye.